Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well, and I also hope that you're watching this video after you have finished studying the Indian Contract Act 1872, because in this video we are going to solve all the possible questions relating to Unit 2, which talks about consideration, and these are questions that ICAI has asked in the examinations. So once you're done with studying, once you're done revising, only then watch this video. It will help you get a hold of the entire chapter. Let's start with the first question. Here, Mr. Sohan Lal sold 10 acres of his agricultural land to Mr. Mohan Lal on the 25th of September 2018 for rupees 25 lakhs. Okay, so let's understand first what happens. Sohan Lal sells 10 acres of agricultural land to Mohan Lal. The property papers mentioned the condition, amongst other details, that whosoever purchases the land is free to use 9 acres as per his choice, but the remaining 1 acre has to be allowed to be used by Mr. Chotelal, who is the son of the seller as in Sohan Lal, for carrying out farming or other activity of his choice. So when Sohan Lal sold these 10 acres, he put a condition that 9 acres can be used, this is 9, by Mohan Lal, and the remaining 1 acre can be used by his son Chotelal for carrying out farming activity or any other activity of his choice. Let's see what happens further. On the 12th of October 2018, Sohan Lal died, leaving behind his son and wife. His son here refers to Chotelal. Okay. And on the 15th of October 2018, the purchaser started the construction of an auditorium on the entire 10 acres of land and denied any land to the son. So who is the purchaser here? The purchaser is Mohan Lal and the son is Chotelal. So when the time of construction came, what Mohan Lal did here was he started the construction on the entire 10 acres, whereas as per the agreement, he was allowed to use only 9 acres of the land. So the question here is, Chotelal wants to file a case against the purchaser and get a suitable redress. Discuss the relevant provisions in the light of Indian Contract Act and decide upon Chotelal's plan of action. Now, here we can look at this question from 2 points of views. The first point of view that we have is under legal rules for consideration, where we learned one element which said consideration may move from the promisee or any other person. Now in this case we have 3 parties. We have Sohan Lal, we have Mohan Lal and Chotelal. Let's say that Mohan Lal promised that he will use only 9 acres of the land and give 1 acre to Chotelal. So Mohan Lal here becomes the promiser, right? And he has made this promise and the receiver of the promise is Chotelal, who is the promisee. So the contract is between Mohan Lal and Chotelal, where Mohan Lal is the promiser and Chotelal is the promisee. Now when the time of action came, when Mohan Lal actually had to spare that 1 acre of land, he did not do that. He started the construction on the entire 10 acres and Chotelal wants to file a case on Mohan Lal stating that he wants his 1 acre of the land. Now Mohan Lal's point of view was, he is not getting anything from Chotelal. There is no something in return, no consideration from Chotelal. So why should he give 1 acre of that land to Chotelal? If he received any consideration, it was not from Chotelal, it was from Sohan Lal, the father of Chotelal. Now, going back to the legal rule, consideration may move from the promisee or any other person. Who is that any other person here? Any other person is Sohan Lal. So when we apply that rule, the consideration given by Sohan Lal is sufficient for Mohan Lal to leave aside 1 acre for Chotelal. And there was another case which I had explained to you, Chinnaya versus Ramaya. This is an almost replica of that entire case where we had 3 parties, promiser, promisee and some other person. So if Chotelal wants to file a case on Mohan Lal, he can absolutely proceed doing that and the case will also be ruled in his favor because the consideration that Mohan Lal received was existing. All that happened was he was receiving it from Sohan Lal instead of Chotelal. This is one point of view. Another point of view, you also learned a case where a third party can also file a case in the contract, right? stranger to a contract cannot sue, but a stranger to a consideration is allowed. Now, when a stranger to a consideration already exists, we have party number 1, party number 2 and party number 3. In this case, why am I calling Chotelal party number 3? Because the original seller was Sohanlal and Sohanlal sold this particular land to Mohanlal. The point here we are talking about is covenant running with the land. The condition that was existing for this contract was existing in such a way that irrespective of the purchaser or the successors, they will have to abide by that condition, and that condition clearly said that 1 acre has to be reserved for Chotelal, who is the son of Sohanlal. So we can also apply that point and say that here Chotelal, being the third party, will also be allowed to sue in this matter, and Mohanlal will have to give 1 acre to Chotelal. That could be his plan of action. So when you are attempting this answer, you will start with the provisions according to the relevant provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Explain which of the two provisions that you would want to follow, whether you're looking at it from the legal rules, that is consideration may move from the promisee or any other person point of view, or you are looking at it from a stranger to a contract point of view, which is, in this case, a third party can also interfere whenever there is a condition running with the land. Or you can write both point of views, whatever it is easier for you. Then write your facts of the case, which is a summary of this entire thing, and then give your conclusion. And what is our conclusion? Applying the above provisions, Chotelal can file a case or proceed against Mr. Mohanlal and have recover his 1 acre of the land, exactly as per the original terms of the contract. And this was a question which was asked for 7 marks in the May 2019 attempt. I would also suggest that you mention the name of the case law, Chinnaya versus Ramaya, as a part of your answer. So mention the citation somewhere in brackets. It will add more weightage to your answer. Let's move on. Question number 2. A direct question, simple question. Define consideration. What are the legal rules regarding consideration under the Indian Contract Act 1872? Again, this question was for 7 marks in November 2019. Write the definition of consideration and you have all the legal rules. There are 8 legal rules for valid consideration. Should you write only the side points or should you give an explanation to the same? You have to give an explanation to the same. You are dealing with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India here, and they want their answers to be clear, precise, and to the point also. So you have to give the explanation, write the side point and give the explanation. You can directly write what is given in the notes itself. Next question. The general rule is that an agreement without consideration is void. Fair enough. We have studied this under the essential elements of valid contract under Unit 1 as well. Now, discuss the cases where the agreement, though made without consideration, will be valid and enforceable as per the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872. So in this case, the question is relating to the exceptions where the contract is valid even if the essential element of consideration is missing. We have studied this topic also in detail. We have, in fact, learned case studies under that as well. But here it is asked as a form of, in the form of a direct question. Simple. Write this. Then write that there are certain cases where a contract is valid even if consideration does not exist. We have section 25 subsection 1, section 25 subsection 2, section 25 subsection 3, that is promise to pay a time bar debt. Then we have other concepts like charity, completed gift, we have bailment, and we have creation of agency. So there are 7 points. Write all those 7 points with a proper explanation, and you can see the importance of this question. It was asked in 3 attempts for either 5 marks or 7 marks. This 5 marks used to be an earlier pattern, but in your foundation attempt, it would usually be for 7 marks. Now, point 4. Explain the following statements in the light of provisions of Indian Contract Act. Agreements made out of natural love and affection. We just covered that. This is nothing but section 25, subsection 1. We had 4 conditions also, so all those 4 conditions have to be written here. Then we have a promise to pay a time bar debt which cannot be enforced. Again, it is similar to this, where an agreement made without consideration will be valid. This is section 25, subsection 3. So you're going to give a proper explanation to this because again it carries 7 marks. And this is again a repeated question. If you have my notes anyway, you see this? The general rule states that an agreement made without consideration is void. And in the exceptions, we have 7 points. So in these cases, contracts are valid even without consideration. This is what the question was just asking us. Agreements made with natural love and affection, section 25, subsection 1. And we have these 4 conditions. The agreement should be written, it should be registered. The parties who are entering into this agreement must have near relation, and there has to be natural love and affection. Only then it will be valid. So these are the conditions to be fulfilled under section 25, subsection 1. These conditions have to be written in detail. Then when it comes to promise to pay a time-barred debt, that also is given in your notes. What happened to this? It got stuck. Yes, found it. Promise to pay time-barred debt, section 25, subsection 3. But what was the condition here? The condition is that this promise which is made has to be in writing. Otherwise, that promise is not valid. Okay? This question again was for 7 marks in the December 2022 attempt. And I believe it is repeated further, but we'll cross the bridge as it comes. Let's go to question number 5. This is another case study question. Mr. A was running an orphanage. Okay. His friend, Mr. S, a philanthropist, agreed to donate 2 lakh rupees for the treatment of a child who was suffering from cancer. So the contract is between A and S. Let me write bigger. Mr. A and Mr. S, where Mr. S agreed to donate 2 lakh rupees for the treatment of a child who was suffering from cancer. Now, because this promise was made by Mr. S, in an emergency situation, Mr. A incurred 1.5 lakhs on the treatment of the child, because in the head of Mr. A, there is an amount of rupees 2 lakhs which Mr. S is going to pay. So now Mr. S refused to pay. After Mr. A has incurred the expenses of 1.5 lakhs on the treatment of the child, on the faith that Mr. S was going to give him 2 lakh rupees. After that promise, after the incurring of the expenditure, S is backing out. So, can A claim, the question is, can A claim 1.5 lakh rupees from S with reference to the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872? Now here, we are talking about contracts which are valid even without the essential element consideration. Why is there consideration missing? Because this was just a donation which one person agreed to make to the other. So in case of donation, we are going to apply the rule of charity. In case of contracts which are relating to charity, consideration is not required and the contract is valid even without consideration. So therefore, addressing this, can Mr. A claim 1.5 lakhs from S? Absolutely. Mr. A can claim 1.5 lakhs from S because that is the amount of expenditure he has already incurred. He can't ask for an additional 50,000 because that is not what he has incurred. And since he has already incurred 1.5 lakhs and S had promised 2 lakhs, at least whatever he has incurred can be claimed because this comes under charity, which is an exception where consideration is required. So in cases of charity, consideration is not an essential element. The contract will be valid even without the consideration. Simple question, just 2 marks. So you need not write facts of the case. You can just write the provision and the conclusion. Next, we have a question which is repeated. Question 6. We just saw this. What are the conditions that need to be fulfilled to make the following agreements valid without consideration as per the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872? The first one again is agreements based on natural love and affection, which is 25 subsection 1, and promise to pay time-barred debts, which is section 25 subsection 3. Again, September 2024, just for 3 marks. Next question. Question number 7. As per the general rule, a stranger to a contract cannot file a suit in case of breach of contract. So we are talking about doctrine of privity of contract here. Comment and explain the exceptions to this rule as per the provisions of Indian Contract Act 1872. Again, we have a list of exceptions here. Direct question, 7 marks, as we have learnt it in our notes. Let me take you back to the notes so that it's easier for you. Oops. Yes. Suit by a third party to the contract. General rule, stranger to a contract cannot sue, but we have exceptions, and in these exceptions, even a stranger to a contract can sue. We have a few exceptions in case of a trust, in case of a family settlement, in case of certain marriage contracts. You have to give an explanation to these points as well. In case of an assignment of a benefit of a contract, except wherever there is personal skill involved, their assignment is not allowed. Acknowledgement or estoppel, and we have 2 more points. Contracts which are entered into by an agent and covenants or conditions running with the land or attached to the land. We saw another case similar to this, that's Mohanlal Chotila wala case, where you can apply this. So this is again a direct question. So if you saw this entire chapter, I'll just brush this up even though it's not in the question. You actually have meaning along with legal rules. 8 points are there and 1 case law, which was Chinnaya versus Ramaya. So technically this was also one of the questions. If you see question 2, it was define consideration and what are the legal rules. So this entire point has been asked once, which we have done in detail. Then there was one more question where what are the cases where consideration need not be present for a contract to be valid. We had 7 exceptions. That was the second topic that we had studied in this unit. And finally, just now what we saw. Cases where a stranger to a contract can also sue. Those exceptions, doctrine of privity of contract, 7 points. Only 3 topics are there in this entire unit. We have seen these 3 topics in detail, and all the 3 topics here have been asked as a direct question, at least in one of the attempts. So use this unit to your advantage. 7 marks, direct questions are also possible, and chotu topics where case study is also possible. We have one more question to look at. One of my favorite questions relating to Unit 2. Yes, question 8. This was in a very recent attempt, January 2026. Let's look at point A first. Each question is divided separately. First one is for 2 marks. It's only the length of the question that looks like a lot. When we go to solve it, it is like a chiller topic, kutti topic. Bhuvika borrowed 4,75,000 rupees from her relative Madan on the 5th of April 2020 on the interest at 1% per month for 5 years for running her cosmetic store. Good on you, Bhuvika. Next, she was paying continuously all the installments and interest every month. But due to a sudden introduction of nature care products, her products became obsolete. Sorry, Bhuvika. And as a result, she was unable to pay the monthly installments and interest from May 2021. Obviously, she's not making the money, so it's not her intention not to pay Madan, but the situation was such. Now, the debt got time-barred by the Limitation Act. What is a time-barred debt? A debt where 3 years have been lapsed and then the lender cannot file a case on the borrower. However, on account of continuous persuasion of her relatives, these people come everywhere, no? On account of continuous persuasion of her relatives, Bhuvika promised in writing to pay the outstanding amount. See how much and what relatives' pressure can do to you. Shortly, within a few months, she promised in writing to pay the entire outstanding amount. Whether Madan can legally recover the debt from Bhuvika when the loan has already been time-barred. Something that we just studied is asked in the form of a case here. Explain with reference to the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872. The act is missing here, but you know the act by now. So now you tell, can Madan legally recover the debt from Bhuvika? Absolutely possible. Why? Because one of the conditions under section 25 subsection 3 is that any promise that you're making to pay a time-barred debt will be valid provided you are making it in writing. And Bhuvika here in writing has promised to pay the outstanding amount to Madan within a few months. So therefore, even though this debt was once time-barred, since the borrower has made a promise in writing to pay the outstanding amount, Madan will be able to legally recover the debt from Bhuvika. Simple question, 2 marks. Next question. Chaya and Abhi are very good friends, and on Chaya's birthday, Abhi gifted an iPhone worth rupees 1.35 lakhs. I hope my friends are watching this video, and I hope your friends are watching this video too. Anyway, the question is whether the gift is valid as per the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Now, is the gift valid or not? That will depend on whether consideration exists or not. No, wrong. I was misleading you and you fell for the trap. The real part is here we are looking at the term gifted. Gifted yani ki gift is already given. It is a completed gift. And you tell me now whether for completed gifts consideration is required or no. Absolutely not. Any contracts where there are completed gifts will be valid even without consideration. So therefore, the gift is valid as per the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Simple. This is also done. Let's look at the final part of this question, which was for 3 marks. In this question, Amol promised to give a ring, gold ring, worth rupees 1 lakh to her friend Chakori on her birthday. Yeah, where are these people getting these friends from? We have Amol here giving a gold ring worth rupees 1 lakh. Here, Chaya and Abir were gifting each other an iPhone worth rupees 1.35 lakhs. And I have friends who barely reply to me. Anyway, let's go to what the question is asking us. Whether the promise made by Amol is enforceable in law as per the provisions of the Indian Contract Act 1872. And also, what would be your answer if the relation between Amol and Chakori is of husband and wife? Okay, so here you know what we are talking about? Of course you know what we are talking about. You're quite good with what you have studied. Section 25, subsection 1, where we are learning about natural love and affection. Now let's look at it from the first point of view. First point of view is where they are friends. Okay, POV 1. In this case, there is a promise to give a gold ring worth rupees 1 lakh to a friend. Tell me if there is a near relation between them. Can you consider friendship under the category of natural love and affection? Absolutely not. Section 25, subsection 1 talks about natural love and affection. And friendship, though quite solid, does not fit into this category. So, is the promise valid under the friendship wala point of view? No, it is not valid because consideration does not exist here. But from the second point of view, where they are husband and wife. In case of husband and wife, is there natural love and affection? Yes, they are of near relation. Yes, one of the conditions was that there should be near relation between the parties. So there is near relation. And as long as the agreement here in the second case is written and registered, it would be considered valid. Because for natural love and affection wala cases, you do not need consideration. The contract is valid even without consideration, provided the agreement is written and registered and there is near relation between the parties, as in the case of husband and wife. So point of view 1, it will not be valid since it is just friendship, but POV 2, which is in case of husband and wife, it will absolutely be valid. So you will give the explanation as per the provisions of section 25, subsection 1, write the content, then applying the above provisions, you will first answer the question from the point of view of friendship wala relationship and then from the point of view of husband and wife wala relationship, which will easily give you 3 marks. This was in the previous attempt, January 2026. I'll keep adding more questions as and when the attempts are crossing, but I would want you to follow all of these questions. These are questions that were asked in the foundation exams hosted by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and we are doing this for every unit. So follow the similar pattern, finish studying the unit. After you're finished studying the unit, then revise it, and only when you're confident of that, attempt these questions, because these are standard questions which will help you understand to alter, if you have to alter your mannerism of studying also. Okay, go back to studying, revise some other unit, And by then, I will finish uploading another unit with more questions.